I want to introduce to you April Crawford. April, welcome on the show.
Welcome. Yay. We're going to have
April,
fun.
April's in LA, and we've known each other through thick and thin. We've been through it. When I owned my talent agency, this is how I met April. She was one of the talent, but she was one of the narrators. When you talk about the best in the business, that's April. Oh, honey. I mean, you could throw anything at April, any major corporation, Fortune 500, and if there was a problem, she worked it out. Tell us.
They didn't speak English, not one of them.
Let's tell the audience the story about you and Toshiba. Was it Toshiba?
It was a 6-day event. The first 2 days were rehearsal. And they had sent me like a 20-page script to quote memorize, but I always used an ear because I knew they would always make changes. And when you got words, you don't know what they mean. Right. You got to hear it, So I put all of it on the 20-minute thing. I get there, they hand me another script completely different. And bad English, very bad English. Whoever translated it didn't speak English well. So I had to go through it and make it decent English so that I didn't sound like an idiot. And then redid it, went to the bathroom, redid the whole thing, came out, and luckily I was really good at the ear. Yeah. First time listening to it, I could always do it. So that was a benefit because they weren't sure if I was memorizing. They didn't know what I was doing. And one guy spoke very broken English. And they're all talking, and it's a big, huge set. We got like all these moving parts, and I'm trying to understand the mechanics. And they're just looking at me like, well, just say it. Just do. And I said, well, don't you want me to demonstrate different things? Can you identify this so that I know that I'm looking at the right thing? So that I don't look. And all of it. And so the guy was trying to help me, but he couldn't understand half of what I was saying. And then everybody just left. They all there was an announcement in Japanese, and I'm standing there going, what's going on? Oh, we take break. I said, well, how long is the break? What do you need from me? And they just looked at me with blank faces. So normally you would say, okay, we're on break, and you go take off. I had a sneaking suspicion that there was something up. So I went and got dressed in my outfit that they wanted me to wear and came back. I said, I'm just going to sit here. I'll get a cup of coffee from the commissary and I'll just sit here. They came back in 15 minutes, so it wasn't a real break. And they go, oh, you here? I said, well, yeah, you hired me to do this, and I'm waiting to rehearse. Oh, you want rehearsal? I said, yes, I want a rehearsal. I want to see if the mic works. I want to know where to stand for the proper. All this stuff needs to be done. They were clueless. They said, we adjust light, and they moved. I said, no. I literally, no brag, just fact, put that whole thing together in about 4 hours. I said, okay, now this, and telling them the camera should come over here, this should go there. And finally, someone from across the aisle, who was an American, comes over and he goes, are you the talent or are you the producer? He says, you don't look like you're supposed to be the producer, but I see you doing production things. I said, well, I'm not a producer. I am a talent. I said, but these guys aren't producers either. They don't know what they're doing. So I am making this. I said, I'm doing this for me, sir, because I'm the one that's going to be up there being roasted. Yeah. Not them, me. And so the guy goes, wow. He used me after that, this guy. He called you and booked me for I forget what it was.
Yeah, I forget. But yeah, you walked into
nightmare,
a cluster.
Yes, there you go, cluster. And I just decided I got to pull myself up by the bootstraps because nobody's going to do this.
But what about the girl that had a script from Japan and she got shy? She couldn't do it. So they handed her her script in Japanese.
Yes. I'm saying, and they go, we need, because she wasn't booked through you, I don't
No.
think. And she
She
came up
came
and she
with
was just,
them.
and it's time for her to go, and she's holding the mic going, and so I walked up and I said, did you have an ear in? What's that? Okay. She doesn't know what an ear is. Okay. I said, well, sweetie, you're going to have to go memorize this then. And, you know, it was this thick. And she's like, I tried. I don't know. And so the Japanese guy comes up and he say, you do. And he hands to me. And I'm going, great. But I did, you know,
Yeah.
I took it. I said, I need a few moments to prepare. I'll be back maybe in half hour. And they said, okay. And I came back and I had it in my ear and I said, okay. And I said, which order? Do I do hers or I do mine first? I need to know because I have to fix it on my ear. And they said, we don't care. You know what you're doing. So I did it. Did hers, did mine. And they fired her because they said, you know, can do.
Yeah.
She goes, no, I can't. Where do they find these people?
I don't know. I thought they brought her in with them or something.
There was some sort of connection there.
Yeah.
Because she was Caucasian. She wasn't Japanese herself. Now, if she had been Japanese herself and they wanted her to do this in English, I could see where that would be a disconnect.
Yeah.
But she says, I can't believe that they want me to do this. And I said, well, sweetie, this is what we do. This is being a narrator. It doesn't mean you just stand up there all cute and pretty and say a bunch of stuff. You got to know what you're talking about. You've got to stage it. You can't just stand there with the mic going like this. I said, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And then my little voice in my head said, you're not here to train the talent.
No. So let me explain to our audience. I owned a talent agency and it was nationwide. And you hire, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you out there have gone to trade shows. You've gone to the auto show. You see the girl on by the car, on the table. She's going around and around. And, you know, she's talking about the car. And that's what we're talking about, the narration. This was not a car show. There's a trade show for everything in the world.
Electronics.
Yeah. Anything you can think of, there's a trade show for. April was one of the top of my narrators.
Because I showed up, I was pleasant, and I did my homework.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. You never freaked out.
No.
Never freaked out.
Felt like it, but didn't.
But didn't. And a situation like this, anybody else, and I know anybody else would have freaked out in tears, calling me saying, what am I going to do? But I knew with April, her going in, she's going to make it work. That's what I would do.
I would never call you with a problem. I always call you when I had the solution.
Right. You always
I told you about the problem, but this is what I'm going to do. I didn't call and say, fix it from New York. I'm in Vegas. Right. You can fix this.
You're in Vegas. I'm in New York. I mean,
right.
so
I fixed it. I called you. I said, well, there was a few little glitches.
Right.
But we're smooth sailing now. And I told you about everything when it was all over with.
When it was over.
You didn't need to be stressing out in New York, wondering what the heck is happening over there.
Oh, absolutely not.
And there was a lot of what this heck is happening here. A lot of it.
Right, exactly. No, April and I have been through so many situations. As time went on, she worked with me with my company and I gave her the LA market. And we happened to get Marvel Comics as one of our clients. And it was
another cluster.
Another clusterfuck. Getting Spider-Man and all the Marvel superheroes out on appearances, going to malls. We ended up having to go and create a show. April, who's also a dancer, a choreographer. So, you know, she knew what to do with the superheroes. So in LA, she had these guys up there teaching them whatever needed to
We
be.
had to do a show, like a little stage show for like, it was going to be at Universal Studios. You know
Yeah.
how they have the little shows? It was Spider-Man and Wolverine and about 4 other characters. They
Right.
had to do a little bit of choreography. I mean, you just couldn't
Yeah.
stand there and say the stuff. So we had to do that. And of course, there was somebody there that thought they were choreographing it.
Oh,
And I
was that Karen?
Yeah, that was her, Karen. Yeah. She
Oh,
was the choreographer. And I looked at her and I said, excuse me, I have been commissioned to do this. Please sit down. This is my perspective. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, not you.
no.
So
No.
I said, please sit down. And she was all put out, and she said, well, Toni. I said, well, I'll talk to Toni. I said,
Yeah.
but I think I know a little bit more about staging than you do. So let me do it, because I'm the one that's going to have
Yeah.
to take care of it, not you.
Her
You're going back-
background was banking.
Yes.
How can you go and choreograph a show? I don't know. We had a lot of that to deal with.
And the guys were all really nice. There was
Yeah.
a few drama queens, in the mix, and I
Always.
just didn't hire them anymore.
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
you can't be an adult and go play games like this, then you're not going to
Don't come
work.
back.
Yeah, don't come
Yeah.
back.
I mean, knowing about talent and all the things we worked with, April and I built the company up basically from cold calling. And so whoever I would hand over anything to, I could lose the account in a heartbeat. But I knew with April,
Never lose a client.
never lose a client. Remember when you were doing the narration for Nabisco with Michael Falkowitz?
You
I'm
gotta
going to have Michael watch this
You
show.
gotta understand, you go to these things, and someone like a Michael Falkowitz, he was wanted to have his hands in everything.
Oh, yeah.
But stumbled around so much. And I would get there and say, Michael, please just leave the booth till I get this organized. He goes, well, I'm with Nabisco. And I said, precisely, you're with Nabisco. I'm with Nouvelle Talent, and you hired me to make
Right.
this happen. You're not making it happen, Michael. So please go get a cup of coffee.
Michael, he was so good with that. I mean, since
Yeah, he walked away and he goes, freedom, freedom.
freedom. Michael, since he has retired, he lives in Vegas, but Michael was great. It was that dry sense of humor.
Yes.
And he didn't have to
Come back
worry.
to the booth. I'd say, what are you doing here? We have everything running perfectly. Don't touch anything. Don't look at anything. Deal with your clients, but don't try to fix anything that's here. He goes, far be it from me.
Michael was one of my best clients, and we're still friends.
Yeah, I
we're
love him.
still in communication. But you and Michael got along great. And dealing with corporations can be very difficult. And it can be, some of them just had a bug up their butt and nothing was right, or they got burnt by another agency, whatever it may be. But when we came in, it was like we took over, for sure.
Yes.
And
Well, you had to, because there was a certain time frame.
yeah,
You had to get it done.
yeah.
That was that.
I also had the Coca-Cola account. Now, April, and let me say, Coca-Cola's a wonderful company, but they really, really go by the rules. From the outfits to the trade shows, everything. Well, April was doing a show in Las Vegas, supervising the booth. And one of the models decided to walk out. And April had to jump in.
I remember this.
You
I
remember this?
was in a pantsuit, and they had these little red dresses. And
Yeah,
this girl just literally handed me her dress and walked out.
yeah.
She said, I'm up for something in Los Angeles, so I'm leaving. And I'm like, great. And so the woman from Coca-Cola comes to me and she goes, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" I said, "The dress fits me. I'm going to do it." Now, the young lady that was working was African American.
Mhm.
They had like to have diversity. They had like an Asian girl and
Right.
they had all these different ones, and they had one blonde.
Yeah.
She looked at me. Now we're in crisis mode, and she goes, "But you're not African American." And I said, "My hands work just as well." I
Yeah.
said, "I'm here. All I have to do is go buy a pair of pantyhose, and we're good to go."
Yeah.
It was Sylvia, and she was. And she said, "I said, there's no way we're going to get another girl here, African American,
No.
in a half hour."
No.
So I said, "I'm getting dressed. You're going to have to deal with the fact that I'm blonde and Caucasian. That's the best I can do for you."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, okay."
I
So
know.
I'm like,
I mean, it's just that when you are dealing with corporations and you're dealing with the models going in or the narrators, actresses, it's a handful. And everything's got to be as perfect as you can make it.
yes.
What about Nintendo? They would book
Nintendo was a nightmare.
they would book 64 girls.
And 63 of them were drama queens.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. But you do it, you get through it, but it's a whole different world, a whole different mind thought. People on everyday life are not thinking like we had to think during that time and how quickly we had to move.
Yes. Yes. You remember the Polaroid guys?
The Polaroid guy. Oh, Jim Marshall.
I did a lot of work for them. We did this whole rollout with the credit cards with the pictures on it. I was completely involved in that.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy who ran it, his name was Jim. And Jim was very much wanted everything to be on time. If you were like a minute late, he would have a meltdown. So I got his number real fast. And so what I would do, we had to be there to set up at the bank to start at 9. And he would say to me, I want you here at 8 so that we can get this set up. So I knew I needed to get there at 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I was there at 7. I had everything set up. I went back to Starbucks and I put a Starbucks on the table. I was sitting with the Starbucks eating a muffin when he walked in at 8 o'clock. On the dot, he walked in.
Oh,
He
yeah.
goes, "Well, April, I'm glad you're having breakfast, but we need to get this done." I said, "Oh, it's all done." That's what are you talking about? I said, "Well, I got here a little early." I said, "I just did everything. We're all ready to go." I said, "Well, here, have a cup of coffee." And he's like, "Well," I said, "Oh, I know you want to get mad at somebody this morning because they were late." I said, "And you'd have to get mad at yourself because you walked in at 8:01, Jim." I said, "Everything's done." And he looked at me and he started bellowing, laughing. And his partner Sal came in and we had tears in his eyes. He says, "You've done him in. You've done him in. You've played the game and you won."
Oh, Jim was very precise on everything.
Everything.
And then he didn't want to work with anyone else but you.
Yeah, because I saved his butt all the time.
I know.
Constantly. And I always made sure I pointed it out nicely.
Oh, of course.
I said,
Of course.
"Oh, it's all fixed." I anticipated the problem and it's all fixed.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where did you come from?" I said, "Duval Talent, Toni. That's where I come from." He goes, "My God." I said, "Why don't you just go get your coffee, have a muffin, enjoy yourself. We're done here. Let's go."
Jim wasn't used to that
No,
at all.
no. And he knew that whatever he gave me, it would get done.
Yeah. And, I think in today's world, the mindset, the work ethic sucks. It just sucks. I mean, there are girls coming up within the industry that would not have the endurance to do what you did or what I did, and a few other handful of talent that were tough and they could get in there and do it. But nowadays, what I'm seeing is a lot of entitlement, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine I would be crazed if I was still doing trade shows and
I
narration stuff
I
because
couldn't do it anymore because
they,
I would. I mean,
not doing the job is a big problem for me.
I wouldn't have the patience because I remember towards the end when I was just about to close out the company. It was like after 27 years, and I was in the Coca-Cola booth, and they picked out these outfits, and I thought all the girls looked horrible. You remember when the style was like below the hips, and then all the girls had that little roll of fat that hung over the belt, but then they thought it was cute. And I'm standing there with an executive up at the top of the booth there looking down, and he said, "Boy, everyone looks wonderful." And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, they don't. No, they look horrible. Luckily, I didn't pick out the outfits. They did. And right then and there, I knew I was losing my patience. Because when you could say that, but it takes a lot of endurance. We lasted 27 years, April, with that.
We did. We did.
20.
Made a lot of money, did some good things, went to.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, April. I can't hear you.
Your internet
Okay.
connection is unstable.
Okay.
There we
There we go.
go. Okay.
What did you say?
The reason I keep looking over this way is that the dog with the broken leg just fell off the table. She's okay.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm in the middle of a broadcast here.
I know.
Can't do that right now. You okay, sweetie? Come over here.
Yeah.
He's the one that got hurt.
Oh,
Hold her.
yeah,
I know.
baby. Well, no, I mean, that was a great, great time, even with all of the ups and downs and everything we went through. But nowadays it would be much different. I would not have the patience.
Yeah, I always had a problem working with the other girls who didn't take it seriously enough. They would take, you're supposed to take a 20-minute break, they'd take 35.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, who do you think you are? Everyone, I was waiting for my break, and so was the other girl, and you're gallivanting around. That's
Exactly.
not right.
Exactly.
She goes, well, I needed more time. I said, we'd all like to have more time.
Right.
I'd like a 35-minute break too.
Yeah. See, people, I mean, this is a sort of industry where it's fast, it's 3 days, or 4, and then you're done with the show and you move on. So you've got to walk the line those 4 days. And a lot of the girls couldn't do it.
No.
They couldn't. So as time went on and April and I grew and that, I went to LA one time and April had something to tell me. You remember how nervous you were?
Very nervous because I knew something that was going to upset you. And I had to tell you because otherwise I'd be complicit in the deceit.
Which thing are you talking about?
John.
Oh, John. Okay, I wasn't. Yeah. One of the guys who worked in my office, which is a dear friend of mine for 30 some years, joined my company, which was fine. I was happy, but it didn't turn out very well. And during the Marvel Comics event, the woman in the office was handling things on the East Coast. And there was a Spider-Man appearance at a mall in Ohio. And apparently she wanted to fly to Ohio because her family lived there and she could visit them and supervise the show. But apparently one of the characters went out to a bar that night in a costume and he was dancing on the bar. Hit the news, which was not the greatest thing. The client at the mall canceled the event. We had to give back a refund, but I had no idea of any of this. When the woman in our office came back, she never told me, but she did tell April.
Yeah.
And eventually, April was told not to tell me. But I think about a year later, when these two people finally left my office, April came to New York and we had dinner and she filled me in.
Yeah, I had to. I had to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was complicit.
Yeah.
And they were really adamant that I shouldn't. I mean, I got screamed at.
Yeah.
Not, and I'm like, this is so wrong.
Yeah.
This is so wrong. You have to be honest.
That's right. But in that situation, the moral of that story is never hire friends or family. Because I will guarantee you it will end the friendship or it will end the family. Unfortunately, that's what happened. But no, I was talking about when you were going to tell me.
Oh, about the channeling.
April channels, and she has a radio show called Inner Whispers Radio, and that's INNER whispersradio.com. So please go listen to the show, write in. So tell me how you knew how to channel.
Oh, it was back about 35 years ago. I was doing 42nd Street at the Shubert Theater, and I was what they would call a swing, which means I knew everybody's show. And if somebody fell down or didn't show up or was on vacation, I would step in. I had a lot of time to sit around because sometimes it was weeks where nobody would, but I still had to be there in case somebody stubbed their toe. And I became very friendly with there was 4 of us, 4 swings, because it was a 50 cast member show. So it was huge. And we would sit and talk and play cards and wait for someone to fall down. And her name was Pam. And she started talking, but she tried Buddhism. She was trying Hinduism. She was trying all these, she was searching to find her spiritual connection. And she said to me, she said, well, I'm going to take a channeling class. And I'm looking at her going, I'm taking a what? And so she explained to me what it was. And I went, oh, okay. And I went through a bad breakup at the time. And so she says, well, don't sit home alone. Come over. We're all here practicing our channeling. And we have food. It's good friends. You'll get a big hug. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go over to her house. So I went to her house, and there was a guy named Alan, a guy named Ryan. There was me, and there was 2 other people. I can't remember their names now. My God, but they were all guys. And they were trying to practice their channeling, like asking questions and stuff. And I would sit there and listen. And one night, I think I fell asleep. I thought I'd fallen asleep. I'd come from work and I was tired. And I wake up and every one of them is staring at me with big eyes going, do you know what just happened? And I'm like, no. And I thought, oh my God, did I do something stupid, while I was sleeping? And they said, you just channeled. I said, no, not me. And they go, oh yeah. And the guy, Alan, who I ended up marrying, he said, I've got it on tape. Listen to it. So I listened to it and I was like embarrassed in a way, because I thought, here's this loud, boisterous energy coming through, and I don't know what she's going to say or do. And I don't know. I'm not, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not doing this. And of course, they were all encouraging me. And of course, I went back to sessions because it was a nice, warm, loving atmosphere that I really needed for April.
Right.
And so they finally coaxed me into it, but then I didn't want to do it for anybody. I said, I could do it in a little group. I said, but I'm not doing this. And my big terror was that my mother would find out, because my mother was like a devout church lady, Catholic, and this would have been like way off the scale for her. Way off the scale. And so I didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
And it took Alan a good 10 years to talk me into it. because I would only do it for friends and family.
Yeah.
And he finally talked me into it when he said, I got the person, and they wanted to have his phone session. And I did it. I was nervous as can be. I was almost threw up, thinking, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? What? And I said, all right. And Alan listened in and he said it was perfect. And the rest is history. Now that's what I do for a living.
I know, you're amazing.
And I've written a lot of books, and it helps people, and I enjoy it. And I've been doing it now for about 35 years.
Yeah. So I encourage everyone to go to April's website. Your website is Inner Whisper, but that's the radio.
Innerwhispers.net.
Innerwhispers.net.
Yes.
Inner Whispers.
Or you can just type in aprilcrawford.com.
Yeah. And
that's probably the easiest way, because that kind of takes you to like an assortment of things you can do.
Yeah. So please go check it out. April and I do a show together where she does channel people right into her show, and she answers the questions on the air as Veronica. So really, really give her a call, check it out. She's the real deal. How's that, honey? You're the real deal.
The real deal.
In so many levels. Yeah. God, the first
provides me with all this time to take care of my fur babies.
Right, exactly. No, April, when she first told me, she wasn't sure how I was going to take it.
Well, I had told a few people along the way, and there was a woman who, when I started out in show business, I was in her lounge act, and we were very close. She felt like a second mother to me. And then I moved from there. They moved on, we split up for a little while, and I ran into her after I started channeling, or maybe it was somebody's birthday party, and I was there. I took a copy of my book, the first one I wrote, Pardon Notes, and I shared with her, just like I shared with you.
Yeah.
She took the book, sat it on the table, and she says, I don't believe in that crap. And didn't even look at the book. Didn't even, say, well, I don't believe in it, but if that's what you're doing, that's cool. There was no acceptance whatsoever. And so I said, and I told Alan at the time, I said, I'm not going to tell anybody else. And so so finally he kept bugging me to tell you. And I said, well, what if she acts the same way? That would break my heart. I said, Joni doing this really broke my heart. And I said, I never felt the same about her afterward.
Right.
Because it's kind of a cruel thing to do when somebody's burying themselves, vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that. And, it's like, not even flip through the book, just set it on the table and walked away. So telling you was like a leap of faith. Because
of course, I was thrilled to hear it.
Oh, I know, but it was so nice to have you be thrilled. But I was expecting different. I didn't know, and that's why I was so nervous, because I thought this could break the whole friendship up. I don't know, because I never thought I would break the friendship up with that other woman.
Yeah, yeah.
But I never felt the same afterward.
Well, how could you? How could you with that kind of judgment?
Yeah.
It's never going to be the same.
Yeah, and Alan said, well, what were you expecting her to do? I said, well, even if she didn't believe in it or she had issue with it, she should have said, sweetie, I'm proud of you that you're going after something that many people aren't going to go after, but I applaud your bravery. Something.
Right. Something positive.
She didn't have to embrace it and say, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. She just needs to say, if that's what you're doing, I support you. Right. I may not understand it or believe in it, but if that's what you're doing, I love you. And that supersedes everything.
Exactly.
She did not do that.
Yeah, see, that's...
And I was heartbroken.
Oh, yeah. I had lunch with a group of women about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about all of this. And the one woman at the table said, I don't believe in any of that. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. And I turned to her and I said, I really feel sorry for you. I said, first of all, if you don't know a lot about it, before you can say, I don't believe in it. Find out what you don't really believe in. I said, to me, you have a fear. I can respect you saying, just like you said, April, no, I don't believe in it, but good for you, or all of that. But
something, I support you because I love you.
right. But when it's so harsh,
educate me a little and let me read the book.
and let's make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the harshness always reminds me they have fear. They don't want to know.
Yes.
So, yeah. No, a lot of people, well, I haven't met a lot of them because if I did, I'd walk away. I would walk away. That would be it.
Yeah.
So, you're going to see me in September.
I'm excited. You're going to get to meet all the new additions.
I know. I'm looking forward to
Little
it.
Miss Marple, broken leg and all.
Oh, poor baby. Poor baby.
She just fell off the table. I can't believe she fell off the table. She didn't hurt herself, but geez, oh Pete, come on.
Yeah.
Trying to get up and I was not focused on her and boom, on the floor. I'm like, oh
God. Well, April, I want to thank you for being on the show and for your time and everything. And I want to encourage everyone, go to innerwhispersradio.com, INNER whispersradio.com, or go to April's website, aprilcrawford.com, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And take a look, read about everything. I think you'll really find it interesting. Ask her a question. We'll get it on the air. April, I love you to pieces.
Love you too, sweetie.
And I want to thank you, little baby. And until the next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.